We're about to travel back in time to London in the 1950s and 60s, a time and place where the line between celebrity and infamy was shockingly thin. Honda will meet two men who personified that era, the one and only Kray twins, Ronnie and Reggie. London in the 1950s and 60s was a city of glamour and grit. In the East End lived two identical twin brothers, Ronnie, and Reginald Reggie Kray. They were the ultimate power couple, ruling the criminal underworld with an iron fist. While Londoners sipped their cups of tea, the Krays were building an empire of extortion, robbery, arson, and violence. And they did it all with style. Think of them as the British Bonnie and Clyde, except with better hair. Their criminal empire was vast. They controlled nightclubs, gambling operations, and protection rackets. They were feared, respected, and in some cases adored by the very people whose lives they made miserable. They were notorious for their charity work, especially during the infamous London fog of 1962 when they reportedly helped stranded motorists. But don't be fooled. These guys were as ruthless as they were generous. If someone owed Reggie money, he'd pay them a little visit, usually with a baseball bat in hand. Ronnie, well, he was known for his explosive temper. Once he murdered a rival mobster in a crowded pub, stabbing him to death just to send a message. To those who crossed him, they built their power on fear, but also on showmanship. The Krays weren't your average thugs. They dressed sharp, drove luxury cars, and hung out with actors, musicians, and even politicians. They were larger-than-life figures who seemed untouchable. But how do you bring down such an empire? Well, you gather enough evidence. Of course, Scotland Yard built a case against them, brick by bloody brick. They interviewed victims, witnesses, and even those who admired the Krays. It took years, but finally in 1968, the net tightened around the twins. They were arrested and put on trial. The charges, a slew of crimes from the past decade. The trial was the talk of the town, the legal system versus the Kray twins. Who would win? The jury deliberated for just 2 hours before delivering their verdict, guilty on all counts. Both twins were sentenced to life in prison. Ronnie spent his remaining years in a psychiatric hospital. Reggie served decades behind bars before his release in the 1990s. Though their reign of terror ended, the legend of the Kray twins lived on. They became the most notorious gangsters in British history, blurring the line between celebrity and infamy. And that, my friends, is the story of the Kray twins. If you like our videos, you can check out our other content where we have more stories of crime and criminals. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, real gangsters don't need fake accents to sound scary.